Joe, thanks a lot for your time. This prompt presentation that we started to promote, I think, last week, and also thanks to Magnil also that was sharing, I think, during this week. So it was a bit one after each other. But the most important, we are here today to celebrate something called Rhino inside Revit. And we will discuss later about this 7, 5, 4 years. Okay, I think each one is having different numbers on their brain, but we want to explain also about the story, how the project started, and also how important tool it is that allow us to work, to automate, to create systems, to communicate with Rhino and Grasshopper inside Revit, the BIM software. So thanks for your time. You are welcome to follow and also to join to this special party. And we are live, and we wanted to book a nice place like the Vegas Sphere now for this presentation, but at the end we decided to do more comfy here in the office. But I'm happy to see you. Also these drones doing the Rhino logo and the Grasshopper. And we are PAZ Parametric Academy Zurich, and we are doing workshops, presentations, projects, and also implementations and development for software and hardware for different offices, for architects and also engineers in the AHC industry. So what we like is to share, we like to collaborate, and we like also to work in different type of professional projects. Here we are, and we have a frame, 1 second, is getting over. Okay, I just wanted to say PAZ Academy is based in a collective of developers around the world that we connect and we like to collaborate. But of course, the main core of our office is here with Nora and Andres, me. And we like also to connect with more professionals, with more developers that want to go further in the topic of BIM and also 3D modeling, automatization systems, and also how we can also create better design and better tools for all the professionals that we are involved in those processes. But today we have a clear goal that is talking about Rhino inside Revit. And as you know, Rhino inside Revit, it's doing different dates, birthday. Today at the end, we say this 5 official years, but yeah, for us it's much more time. As you know, if you are a Rhino and Revit and also Grasshopper user, you know that we are connecting with Rhino and Revit since a lot of years. And we want to also review this project, this timeline. And we have some important dates that we want to check with you. The first of all is 27th of August. We have the first commit of the project Rhino inside Revit from Kike Garcia. And I think it was a really special day a lot of years ago. And also for the reason we were talking about these 7 years rounding up. And also we have a first installer in May of 2019. That was also important date that we don't need to use the Visual Studio to compile and also to create our own installer. That was already on the web and we were able to install direct. And then an important date for PAZ Academy, that was the Computational Design Week in Barcelona that we were planning. That was mainly with Archicad Grasshopper connection, and we were having a lot of different activities for this week that we will celebrate in Magnil. But something alright, that was COVID. That was really a tough time, I think, for all, and we need to suspend this physical event and start with another plan. That was our building system specialist title that we opened around summer 2020, and was a title that we made here in PAZ Academy to connect with BIM software. And we have two important modalities with connection with Revit, of course, with Rhino inside Revit, and also with the Archicad Grasshopper live connection. And then another date's important, like we made a live connecting Archicad and Revit live in December 2020 with the team of Graphics of North America, with also the team of Magnil. And then another important date for the team from Magnil, that was the official launch of Rhino inside Revit first version on 12th of August on 2021. We can say there was a lot of years now, from 2018 2018, and a lot of things happened. As you see, also we were having program, and we already started to work with the Rhino inside Revit. So we can say in 12th of August was already a really solid development coming from McNeil, and also really important that the companies developing software, they decided to go officially with their own add-ons, plugins inside other softwares, as we saw also from 2015 when Archicad connect with Grasshopper. That was a really important date for the industry when software decided to open the door, made bridges, and made officially from the software development these connections. And also another important topics like is Rhino Beam. We always like to talk about Visual Arc, Lens Design, and another softwares that they are with Rhino since a lot of years. I mean, Visual Arc, Lens is a bit more young, but Visual Arc is since a lot of years before Rhino inside Revit. And of course, today that we are celebrating this party with Rhino inside Revit. And we will do a small live connection to warm it up and also to present how this Rhino inside Revit is working for all and how we can do our first steps. But as we mentioned, we would like to remember this important commit from Quique Garcia. That was the opening in 27 of August, some summers ago, 2018, and was the first commit when Rhino inside Revit started. It's also nice to share, of course, Quique was working with Asuni during several years, so he was developing Visual Arc, and then there was an important jump when after so many years involved in BIM technology, also IFC, he decided to do this connection with Rhino inside. Rhino inside was also an important development from McNeil that they decided to open the software doing a library that we can install and we can connect Rhino and Grasshopper inside another softwares. So that was a really big day for us because a lot of things happened, like our BSS title, as we commented before, and we decided also during COVID was a special time that we decided to do an online title, and we opened this online title for the professionals who wanted to join into the computational direction, to started to create systems when we are working with BIM softwares, and we were having really nice stories, really nice professionals that they were coming, they were joining, sharing their knowledge, and also doing amazing final projects. And that was also an important date, the connection that we made in December in 2020 with Archicad Revit. We made it live with Graphics of North America, also with McNeil, with Scott, and we connect on real-time live these two softwares, thanks to Rhino inside Revit, of course, but also thanks to the Archicad Grasshopper live connection. And that was a special day, big celebration that the softwares, they can talk from each other direct with development from the main software companies. So for us, it was a really important day and also connected with our BSS title. Another important date when they launched in McNeil, the first version, the release version, 12th of August. So that was already solid Rhino inside Revit with a lot of hours of work and a lot of commits and a lot of code and also professionals working. And if you don't know, we always invite you to enter to the amazing webpage, amazing documentation they have in McNeil, talking about Revit, how it's working internally, the type of data structure that we have in the BIM software, and also how Rhino inside Revit is working. And we think one of the best developments that as ASC software as is McNeil made to connect to another, like in this case is Autodesk Revit. And let's do a small live. Probably, I don't know, the publicum is today, but maybe you already have some hours of work also with this technology, but we would like to share with you. Let me share my screen. 1 second. Okay, can you check the Revit? Yes, and Grasshopper?
Yes, also.
Okay, so we have the whole screen. Perfect. Thanks. And let's do some first steps in this connection. As you are watching, when we are in Revit, it's really important because we already have our tab in with Rhino inside. And here we will find different type of information. But one of the great things is also if we unfold this more, first we will need to install Rhino inside Revit, of course. And when we will install this version, then we will be able to open Revit again and say that we want to load always this plugin. And then we will be able to find this new tab where we will find information. We can find different sections like options, where we can find the version of our Rhino inside Revit, also different scripts, and also we have updates that, for example, sometimes to connect with this Revit 26, we were needing at least some weeks ago to use this daily build that is the most up-to-date version. And in these different tabs, we want to serve because also there is an important part for the script editor and also the different parts of Rhino and Grasshopper, like the player where we can automate with our own scripts, or we can launch in a really wild way direct Grasshopper to work with Revit, or we can just open, as we made before, we open first Rhino, and then we'll jump the window of Rhino, and then inside Rhino, we will open our window of Grasshopper. Great. Let's start doing a first script. I will start doing one box, and we want to do one first steps of building. I don't know if we have some minutes, so let's try to use this opportunity. So we will do one box. Maybe it's better if I sketch. We will have one box that we will transform into a sub-D object that, as we know, is one of the coolest geometry that we have now in Rhino. And with this sub-D, we will do some cuts. Probably if you already, it's not the first time using Rhino inside Revit, some of the parts that we will explain now will be familiar. So we hope that you learn also something new. And with those cuts, we will generate floors, some columns, and also one facade in what we call first stage design when we are starting with a new project, or we have a competition, and we are not, let's say, needing to take so much care of the technical details, families, and so on. So let's start with this process. Let's bring a box with 2 points that we will have here inside Grasshopper. And we will create first our first coordinate points. I will put 0, 0, -10. That will be this first point that we have here. And then we will create the other point that will be, for example, 20, 20, and let's say 80. As we said, will be a first sketch of a building. And I think at the beginning, it's nicer if I bring here Rhino. Okay, can you check the window with Rhino? It's okay, yes? Okay, perfect. And now with this box, we will do another step that we'll be bringing from our section mesh. We will bring one mesh box. That will be an important step because we are gonna jump from 3 different important geometries. We have here one BREP. As you know, our best friend in Grasshopper will be always those panels that are explaining which type of geometry we are using. So we start with this BREP, this box, then we change to this mesh, this polygonal geometry based on faces. That is the most common that we'll find in most of the softwares, also in internet. And then at the end, we will do another transformation into sub-D. And to that, we will go to the new, I have already some time, but for us, continue being exciting, sub-D from mesh section component. And here we will see how we are already doing softer our geometry, our first box, thanks to the sub-D geometry. And the cool thing that we can always play with the softened core or borders of our geometry, thanks to the definition of the mesh that we applied before. So if, for example, here we create one slider from 1 smaller than 10, we can connect to the number of subdivisions that we want in our mesh, as you are watching, and we can see also how our final sub-D will be affected with this geometry that we are creating with our mesh step. So now that we have our sub-D generated direct from Grasshopper, and we have all these faces, what we want is to apply some cuts to our skyscraper, to our tower, to create some slabs. To do that, we will do another parallel system. So we will do a system of planes that will cut our geometry. And to do that, we will use the intersection component. We like to use, if it's possible, as mathematical, but if not, also physical. It's having a bit more of consume, but it's also working. And here we have our BREP. We know it's a sub-D, but the BREP input, and also will work with our set of planes. So how we can generate a set of planes? If we go to section vector, we will find different type of components. We like quite a lot construct plane, and also we like quite a lot now to generate a set of points to create our planes that will cut and we generate our floors in our building. So let's bring another construct point. That's also a really powerful component that we use a lot of times. Another important friend, our friend series. So now that we have all of them, we can always check what's going on here with some panels. So we are doing a set of numbers that will create a set of points, and this set of points will be a set of planes that will cut our building. How we can do that? Because now we are only watching one element. Well, first we need to connect our points to the coordinates. So the number series we connect here, and we create a set of points. And when we connect this set of points to our construct plane, we have this list of planes that we generated. And then when we connect to our cut, we have our cut in our volume, in our sub-D. But we want to control the floors because we want to say, okay, which is the floor height we have here in our building. So let's bring here the number 5, being generous and leaving a bit of space for the structural slabs. And also we can control the number of floors that we want in our building. For example, with this number slider that is saying we want more or less cuts in our sub-D in our building. Great. When we have all this information, that is the first system where we have our geometry, we will jump to the generation of some elements in Rhino inside Revit. And this is where we think the magic arrives, because if we go to this Revit tab, we have during the last years a lot of development, a lot of changes, and also we have now a really nice library that will make us even learn better and more about Revit, thanks to this amazing work that Manil is doing since a long time. And we want to create some architectural elements. For the reason we will unfold this tab, and we will add a floor. In the moment we connect our floor, the first input, we will connect our curves. And this dark gray is a really healthy, nice color for the users of Rhino inside Revit. I'm sure they are happy with the components that get this dark gray, because it means that we have our elements generated and sent direct to Revit. Today, we are not going to go deeper into types and floors and things like that. We will do that in our next workshop, but we can always check that everything is going good in Revit if we open, and we also check the shaded frame view, and we can start to check our rounded floors. Our next step, we will generate a set of columns. For that, we'll not always, but this is really cool components, device surface. And we are not going to get also crazy now with the geometry that we are sending to clean it, because we know, there is a lot of steps before we want to send this type of information. And now I would like to come back to Rhino. Perfect. And we have our set of points, and we will reduce. Normally, we like to create the points more than number of points by distance to have the control of the columns that we want to generate now. To generate these columns, we can also go again to the Revit department. And also this time we will bring the structural columns. There was a change some years ago in the columns that now we need to, let's say, add the normal column, the architectural column with the floors, and we want to do it with geometry. For the reason we will select these structural columns and will depend on lines. So to create these columns, we will bring another great component in Grasshopper is line SDL. And these lines will generate the geometry that will generate our columns in Revit. To do that, we will need a distance or a direction and the length. The length will arrive from this length that is my floor height. So I will connect and I will put in faint mode. And in the moment we have these lines, we can connect to our column component and we can check that we will have our columns generated. This is the clean that I was mentioning before. We should clean our generation of points first. And then we have the columns that also I can show you in Revit. Great. So we have two of the elements that we wanted to show. Also, I think is a really nice thing when we are working with Grasshopper that we have the control or calculation of our area by floor. With that, we can bring one component area, connect, and just check the area per floor. As we can see the differences of this sub-D geometry, how it's changing from down to up, so how the floors are getting bigger, thanks to these smooth finishes that the geometry is having. And the last thing that we would like to do in this short live, just to warm it up before we finish and we show some projects, we want to create a fast, as we say, fast facade. We have a lot of amazing components like the adaptive families or also native families from Revit. We can also create families here in Rhino.Inside.Revit. But we will do it today in a faster way with the components that they are direct shape and they are representing geometry inside Revit. No? And I think it's quite useful when we are working with competition ideas and we want to send a fast information to check how this geometry is represented in the BIM software. To do that, I will come back to Rhino because now what we want is to cut our sub-D. And to do that, we will go again to intersections and we will talk another type of intersection that will be a split B-rep multiple. It means we have a set of curves. I will do space here. This area can go down and I will bring my sub-D and the curves important. I will do now one flatten. We will talk about three structures for this next workshop that we think is for beginners, enthusiasts, or also mid-range users that they have also some hours of work with Grasshopper, also with Revit. And here, what we are doing is with our list of elements that we just cutted. We cutted our sub-D with our curves. These curves, they are cutting. What we want is to take out some elements that are in the first part and the last floor that now we don't need. So we can always do these nice list operations with the section that we just open with sets. And here, multi-line data. Okay, and this is the information that we want to keep to represent our facade now. Always when we have a lot of elements, it's a nice practice to just select all our components, right button outside the components, important, and preview off. And then preview on only the part that now we are taking care, that is this geometry. And now an important step, we want to send this geometry inside Revit. And here we will have different options. I can say a lot of them, but we want to use this direct shape geometry that we will have different inputs. One will be the geometry, the category, we will jump that, and the material. We'll bring one material to create the glass effect. And with right button, I will go to the glass material. The second one, this blue, is too intense. And another important step, I will transform this B-rep, this geometry, into a mesh to be sure that the geometry, the integrity of the geometry will arrive perfect to Revit. So I will bring a mesh B-rep component. I will not put the settings of the type of mesh that I want. And I will check how it's going in Revit with our glass material. Okay, that is three different elements. Now we have more things to work, of course, to take out the upper columns, also to structure the data in a better way, to create levels. But we think for this start is a nice start to do complex geometry buildings with this great geometry with sub-D with Rhino. And we would like to jump or come back to the presentation after this first start. Let me share again our screen. We are back in PowerPoint, is correct? Okay. And we have 2 minutes, but here they are really serious with time, so to respect that maximum. And we want to finish with some projects that we were developing during the years, and we want to comment. Yeah, there was also projects and a lot of things ongoing before Rhino inside Revit, before 2018, let's say 19, when the installers started and was more done, the connection. So we were also doing a I think, interesting projects like this one, this collaboration with KCAP and Urban Planner, and also Architectural Office from Rotterdam, and also they have an office here in Zurich. And we made this nice tower, but also we wanted to share today because I think the people is also curious know what was going on some years ago when we made that project before Rhino inside Revit, and let's say that was 2017. And that was the scheme that we selected to do this project, the selection of softwares, because we were having inputs from a lot of different type of softwares like Vectorworks, AutoCAD, even SketchUp, databases, even emails, web. And we wanted to transform all this data into a platform like it's Grasshopper Rhino that was able to digest and parametrics take these inputs and transform into geometry. And that was also something that Flux.io, that was a really cool thing from Google. That was before also Speckle and all this web. That now that we have a lot of options, but during this time there was not so many, and that was the grandfather of all those, and was a platform where we were able to send geometry and grab later also in Dynamo. So that was the diagram. We were also using Dynamo to grab the geometry and place the families of the project. And here also only to show that was a project we need to rebuild the entire geometry, because it was from the competition, the crazy competition that we have, geometry in a fast way that we produce to win a project. And then we need to rationalize and start to put on shape this construction building, this model, this BIM model. And here we have a diagram of the unfolded facade with all the connection, because that facade was made with brick. So all the connection, all the gaps, all the type of brick that we have in this facade, all that was made it inside Grasshopper, and also the information sent it to Revit. And what's going on when we have Rhino inside Revit? Wait, much more time for us, because we are working already inside Revit, and we don't need to do this setup with so many steps. So I think the integration is much direct, and we wanted to share this VRK facade project, another office located in Amsterdam, that they are doing great architectural projects. And what we made is a tool for a facade for that office that was helping them to get information for the regulation in Netherlands, and also to do variations in a fast way with the families and information they were having in Revit. And here is the first analysis of windows types that this building was having, the different patterns. Here the tools, so the combination of Rhino inside Revit with the different typologies, and the way to use for a user that is also open for whatever wanna do changes in that BIM project. And at the end, also some of the layouts, because that was great, was giving you the % of opaque and transparent material of the facade with the changes of the project. And that is also useful for the regulation, as we commented before. And here we want to finish. We are, more or less we started. So minutes after, thanks also for your time. We want to invite you. We'll have an exciting workshop that we will open more topics. We didn't have time today. Like, we will talk about AI. We will talk more about tree branches. And also we want to create a modular tower for this workshop. So we'll work with modular systems. Probably we have a bit of Python and different ways to use Rhino inside Revit, parametric design, and also coding, and how we can now work and connect all those inside Autodesk Revit in this one-day workshop, 30th of May, that will start at 9 in the morning, and we have some seats online. That's important. The workshop also will be in English, also important, and we have also some seats here in PAZ Central in Zurich. So if you are interested, we are totally open. You are welcome. And to finish, we have here our main information, where we are, who we are, our phone, and also our email if you have more questions.